Okay, welcome back. I'm doing another guide. I'm gonna make a guide on Viper. So I wanted to, instead of just hopping straight into a game, I wanted to explain the fundamentals of Viper's kit, aka her abilities, before getting into a game, so that when I'm in the game and I'm making callouts or using certain terms, you understand what I'm talking about. So one of the most important fundamental parts of her kit is understanding the difference between damage and decay. And what I mean by this is, if I hold F1, you'll see her 4 abilities, and they're in Spanish right now because I forgot to translate my game back, but you can read Spanish. So I'm just going to call them by their key, so C, Q, E, and X, and I will define names for them later. So this C right here is called Snakebite. I'll call it your Snakebite or your Molotov, because technically in like most tactical games like this, it would function like a Molotov where it denies an area. So this is your C. You have 2 possible charges, and it comes out of your wrist gauntlet, and you just click to shoot it. There's no like dropping it like Phoenix's or anything. So I'll show you. It's got like a pretty good trajectory, so you can kind of like do some crazy like lineups with it. You know, you don't have to like. It's not like one of those abilities that doesn't go far. Then you have your E and your Q. So with your E, once you deploy it, in the practice range you can't redeploy it, but once you deploy it in game, you also, in a round, you can't change where it goes. So you have to set it up for the, when you set up your E, you want to set it up with the entire round in mind. So I'm just going to set it up like right here, pretending as if this is like, this right here is like an choke, okay? This, your E, I will reference as either so your E and your Q are both technically smokes. They're use venom, but in the mechanics of the game, they're a smoke. And they block visibility. That's what a smoke is. It blocks visibility. Right? Like, just think about like CS:GO or anything. Those are smokes. So your E and your Q both function as smokes. So if I in the video in the game reference, oh, I'm gonna put a smoke here, I could be talking about the wall or the Q. So the E I will always call the wall. That's the wall. It comes up that it's a wall, right? However, the Q, it can either be called like the bubble, the smoke grenade, the orb, you know, whatever. Because when you use it, it looks like this. It's a big like circle, right? And so this one, it actually is able to be picked up. Notice the blue little bar above it right now. In a game, if you throw it out and then pick it up, you have to wait that long before you can throw it again. It's to prevent you from being like too OP with it. But this is really good too, because you can throw it to cover some pretty important sites. And like once you learn some lineups, God, I hate how there's a cooldown here. So once you learn some lineups with it, you can do some pretty cool stuff. Like I'm gonna try to show you this right now. It's not like a lineup because this is the practice range, but it's like, oh my gosh. Okay, effectively you get it on top of here, and it would create like a unique shape. I'll show you in game on a certain map. Okay, so what was I talking about? Damage versus decay, right? Here's how it works. Your Snakebite does damage. If an enemy walks through that, not only do they take damage to their health and armor, they also become vulnerable. So you'll see a white little circle around them. That means that in that for that time period that they have that little white circle effect on their body, they take more damage, incoming damage. So it's well known that the Vandal right here to your body does 40, to your head does 160, right? 40 for a body shot, right? If they walk into your fight and then you shoot them because they're standing this, or even when they're like right out of it, like for like the very first second, you'll do more than 40 damage with one shot. So that's why it's powerful, because if they walk through it when they're pushing you, they're gonna take a lot more damage. Now, decay is a little different. Right here, you see how I'm green? When enemies walk through your smoke, either this one, or your when they walk through either of these, they take a decay, which effectively, as long as they're standing in it, their health and armor will reduce down to literally 1 health. So if they stand in your smoke for long enough, they can get down to 1 health. Well, you might think this is OP, but the minute they get out of it, the decay wears off, and they go back up to whatever their health and armor was before that. So that's like And Spike Rush, when you pick up that poison or decay orb, that's what it's effectively doing. It's reducing their armor and health as they're in it until they get out. That's why her ult's so powerful. You were asking the other day when we were playing, well, why is her ult good? Isn't it just like a big smoke that you stand in? Well, because enemies don't want to push into that because they know that you're at full health, or you might be at full health, and the minute they walk into that, they're going to start losing health and armor, to the point where if they're in it for long enough and you see them, all you have to do is like 1 damage and they're dead. So another cool thing about her smokes, unlike other smokes, that do you see the little green bar that says 100? Well, you can reactivate and deactivate these. So you could have this literally set up, and then you deactivate this, your wall is still going, deactivate reactivate this, get some safety, reactivate the wall. So you can reactivate and deactivate these as many times in the round as you have enough venom or whatever your little fuel bar is. The way her ult works is a little strange. There's a little green circle on the floor. Depending on how you aim this will change the shape of the ult. And the shape, I mean like this. Watch. So I'm going to do this outlines what my ult is right here in the blue. So as you see, when I leave out of it on the map, it shows it. Now, the ult will stay up like this for as long as for the entire round, as long as you're in it. The minute you leave, you see this little timer up top. That's the integrity of your ult. If you're out of it for enough time for that timer to completely go to 0, it will just do like a little dun dun dun, and then it will shut down. Watch. So I'll let it time out, and it'll go, and now it's gone, and you don't get it for the rest of the round, and you're back to 0 ult points. So you want to make sure you're placing your ult in a smart way, right? So like, say this is the choke, aka like you know what the choke is, right? I've explained to you the choke point. It's like a point of like high contention between the two teams. So like, basically, this door right here would be like the door you need to hit on the site, and say like this is the site, right? This is the bomb site. So, like, you wouldn't want to just ult like this. It would just go nowhere. What you could do is you could wait till you get completely on the site and then do it. But that's a little risky because it requires you to wait till you're all the way on site first. At that point, you've already got the site secured. You could do something like this, where you kind of look forward and then look at how much, because it's directional. It's not just like all in one place. Since you were standing here and aiming forward here, it goes more forward than it does back, and look how much of the site you have covered. Now you could get like up into a spot, you know, safely plant the spike, and then you're in your ult. Now look at how big this ult actually is. You can hide in this corner and lurk around by shift walking, and look at how much room this covers. Remember that you have better vision in here than your enemies do. They have limited vision, and then you also see them highlighted in red. So this is a really good ult. By the way, if you hold X, you can quickly like deactivate your ult just like as if you're standing outside of it. So if you want to do like a really sneaky trick play, say make the enemies think that you've left your ult and you're on the other side of the map, you just hold X and your ult will just deteriorate, and they might like come through this door thinking, oh, Viper left, she's out of her ult, and you can just get like a bunch of free kills. So that's pretty much the premise of her kit. It's very important. So you have the wall, which is you get for free every round. It's very valuable. And then also, you know how I told you to pick up Spike, plant Spike at the end of every round? With Viper, your new priority is try to get this back. If you pick that up, if you press F on it and pick it up before the end of the round, you get it next round. You save 200 credits. So it's actually a really good idea, because every round you pick it up, you know, not every round you're going to be in a big gunfight. So every round you have the chance to pick it up, that's saving you some money. The snake bites are really good. You can bounce them and land them like in these, you know, interesting spots. They're good for checking corners. So like, say you're pushing through this doorway and you think someone might be like right there. You just throw it down. Now, like, if they're in that corner, they're gonna take damage, and they're gonna have to either, you know, they're either gonna have to push out of the corner or just stay there and take damage and die. So here's what I meant by the white circles. So you see the enemies. See how they have this, like, I guess they changed the visual effect, but you see how they have this like sort of like, see, they're all dead, but now he has a effect. He takes more damage. So I'll take out my pistol, which normally takes, let's go to someone who's full health right here. 2 shots to their head. 2 shots to the head, right? Well, if I throw this down and he's taking more damage, 1 shot to the head. And obviously they're taking damage less from this, but they also take more damage from my pistol. So it's almost like an even faster way to kill them. If you know, if they just walked through it briefly and they didn't stand in it for like that white effect, and they're still taking that damage. So I'll show you. This is how I can prove to you that. Right. So I'm gonna shoot this guy 2 times. Well, they have decay on, right? 1 time. So I don't know if decay really works super well in the practice range. I don't know that, but and that's why a lot of players like to pick up the shotgun, right? Because here's the thing: if you're open and everyone's in close range, you know, by the time they get close enough to see you, because look, you could see him from here. He's gonna have a hard time seeing you because you're green. You blend in. But look, you just literally. You own this entire area. You dominate it. That's why it's called the Viper. So now I'm going to try to leave this practice range, and hopefully I can get into a game on either Ascent or Haven, because those are my 2 best Viper maps. If not, I'll still try to show you. But if I can get onto Haven especially, I can show you with lineups, which will help you there. Oh, perfect. So this is going to help you to understand what I mean by lineups, because Viper is even more valuable when you can use the lineup. So if you can learn how to do some of these, and a lot of them aren't even that hard. It's just kind of like lining up where you're aiming with a certain part of the map and then throwing it, you know, and then it can give you immense value, because just using her abilities. And I was
like, I don't know what champion I'm gonna play. Oh.
Okay, sure. I'm gonna mute everyone because that was annoying, and I'm trying to teach. So, you know, with Viper, if you use all of her abilities reactionarily, like, you know, you're just reactively using them, like, oh, I think I need some smoke here, that'll be okay, but the whole value in Viper is knowing the lineups, because she's a controller, just like Omen and Brimstone. So what her job is to, you know, control the map and cut off areas of sight and everything like that. So
Spike rush.
We got attack first. I'm going to show you this.
Voy al mid. Voy al C.
I'm going to show you this lineup. So this is a C lineup for Viper, and again, I don't expect you to learn it from my video. I'm gonna give you some videos that I used to watch, that I still watch. This guy makes really good lineup videos for Viper. They're super quick. So you're gonna aim up here, you're gonna jump throw like that. Then look, your wall, look at my mini-map. It's blue, it shows you where it's going. Boom, you shoot it like that. Now I have smoke for cover. I have smoke covering heaven. This is like, this is all the way in the see that? Now I'm gonna bounce one of these in the back because I know they're hiding in the wall. And then I'm gonna, my smoke's gonna go down because I don't have enough.
Enemigo exterminated.
I'm gonna just use, I'm using all my abilities just because we're in Spike Rush, but normally you might wanna, so see, look, she walked through my snake bite in order to get to the garage, so I know she's already taken some damage. I'm gonna pop my wall back up again so that they're gonna push into, they're pushing into the site now with they don't know, right? So here's what I would do in a normal situation. Even if you die, you still get your thing. So pick that up, even if it means you have to die in this fight, because you're still getting back. So it's Spike Rush, so we don't matter if we get it back or not. We get every ability. I'm gonna show you a little A lineup now. This works for me half the time it doesn't. You basically stand in this corner, you aim up at this rock right here, and then you aim at like the corner of this rock, but it's super temperamental. You have to aim at like the exact right spot. And then if you jump throw it just right, it should land on top of the boxes. Okay, I didn't do it right. It didn't land right, so it doesn't cover what I wanted it to. So I see him right there, right? No way, he was just in the back corner, literally, like, that's the thing with the poison. Sometimes you, like, land it and you think they're standing in it, but, like, really they have, like, 1 pixel of space. So that was my fault to do that, but that's how you can use it. You saw that 56 damage. it is out. I basically forced him into that corner.
Un enemigo sigue en pie.
But yeah, so learning lineups will be your best friend in this because the more you know, the more powerful you're gonna be, because you literally are gonna provide value to the team without even having to put yourself in danger. That's like, did you see my C1? I was able to cover the entire site before even peeking my head out of long. That's extremely valuable because you know, as a Phoenix player, that usually in order to provide any value, you have to flash in.
Última ronda antes del
On
cambio.
your wall, you have to look right down the middle of long just to use it, you know? So with this wall, you can shoot it through, like, hard barriers. Like, you could shoot it through this wall right here. They can't shoot it through this wall. You're just completely safe. So it's important to, just important to learn these lineups and just, like, kind of, like, figure out the trajectory. Even if you're not going to learn a bunch of official lineups, try to learn, like, you know, stuff, like, how to throw it in a way to, like, cover yourself. Because it'll really help you. So I'm going to go like this.
Orbe de veneno emitiendo.
See, so it covers all of heaven. I have a feeling he's back here. My team's pushing. I'm gonna wait till my look at the bottom. My venom's going up because I'm not using either of them. I'm gonna wait till it gets up to like at least 75. I'm gonna pop both of them. And I'm gonna lurk on the site. See, I threw this one closer, so it's right up against the door. And then it still covers the back of the site.
Un enemigo sigue en pie. Último jugador en pie.
Like to stall it out low. I couldn't even defuse because I used my snake right on it.
Cambiando de lado. Punto y gana.
Ahora, tiren.
Okay, now I'm going to show you a really cool one-way lineup for C. I know a one-way lineup for A and C on this map. That's why I wanted this map. So the one-way, what a one-way is it allows you to see them without them seeing you. You just throw it up in that horn. Then, in order to help your team out, you just pop this like that, right? Now, if they push in garage or mid, you can just pop that. And if they pop here, look at this one-way. You can see their feet, and they can't even see any part of you. So you just spray them. That's a good one-way. Well, now I know they're pushing A, right? So let me go recollect this, if I can. Sometimes you can't. So I can't pick up this wall, but I picked up my smoke grenade, and I'm going to be able to use that when I want to retake site A. What I mean by retake is, I mean push back into the site. So I need some abilities in order to help me with that, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and I don't know any lineups for like a retake. So I'm just going to like chuck this in that like that. And just hope it like does something.
Un enemigo sigue en pie. Veneno aire activo. ¡Llegó la fiesta! Esto no es necesario. Ganan los defensores.
They're mad that they thought we were queued for comp. So those were a few Viper tricks. I mean, you know, you're going to definitely learn more just by playing, and the lineups I didn't go into depth in because I feel like I can't explain them as well as the videos I'll show you. I was just trying to explain the core like ideas of using Viper. So like how to use her wall and smoke to kind of give cover to your team, but also not just to cover your team, but also prevent the enemies from pushing through them. That's the power of Viper versus other controllers, is her smokes actually like do like this decay, so it makes the enemies scared to push through them. Whereas with like Brimstone or Omen, the smokes don't do anything except limit your vision, so they don't really care if they push through them, right? Like, but with Viper, it's like if you push through it, you're risking yourself because you're weakening yourself, and you could get shot and killed easier. So that's why I wanted to stress that on Viper, but other than that, those are some tips I'll give you more in game if you want as we're playing, but I think those are the main tips I wanted to outline.